Good morning, everybody. Todd Gormley here with a little tech snippet. I want to teach you today about how to set up and your gradebook and add assignments. So I noticed that I cannot see myself, which is fine. I'm just checking on that real quick here. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to start off. You log into your Infinite Campus, and you should be on Control Center. That should be your first place. What I'd like to do is first go to Gradebook. Click on Gradebook, and you should see your students that are in your class. You should see a couple of columns here, but you shouldn't see anything else if you haven't set up your Gradebook. Now, what we're going to do first is we're going to go to settings. We're not going to add anything. We're not going to go and put anything new in. Before you do this, make sure you're in the right semester and the right section, because that will be an issue for you later. If you find you're not in the right section, you might have to go back and find, well, where did I make this thing? So let's set up our gradebook. First, go to Grade Calc Options. Now, this training is for Wyoming Indian High School and Wyoming Indian Middle School, but anybody else watching, you can apply your school district's settings. Wyoming Indian High School, you go down to semester, either semester 1 or semester 2, based on what you're trying to do. Click In Progress Grade. And then for grading scales, you want a secondary scale. Now, weighting, using score percentages, all that stuff, that is your own personal preference. It is not a requirement. Okay, when you're done, you click Save and move on. Now for Wyoming Indian Middle School, same thing, click In Progress Grade. And I want you to go all the way down to WIMS Scoring Rubric. Again, weighting, cumulative grading, that's between you and your administrator or you and your classroom. So it makes no difference at this particular moment which you choose. So I'm going to choose the secondary scale because it's very generic. And you'll see an in progress grade. Okay, if I go back and I choose WIMS Scoring Rubric, it should do the same thing. Now, for Wyoming Indian Middle School, you do not use semester 1, you use quarter 1. Again, choose in progress grade, WIMS Scoring Rubric. Let's just make it easy. Save. So now I have options. Let's hide this. I can go to my tasks and say quarter 1. I should have an in progress, and my semester 1 should have an in progress because I set them both to calculate. So now there's nothing to calculate yet. We're going to have to add an assignment. The first thing to do to add an assignment is click the Add button in the top left-hand corner. If you hover over it, you notice it says Create a New Assignment. Now, this is a life science class, so let's write a test. So you have to do everything that's in red. So let me highlight here. Okay, so anything that's in red is required. Okay, points, multiplier, all that stuff. All right, so we're going to make a test. Our abbreviation has to be less than 6 characters. I can't add anything beyond test 1. So if you click draft, this will not post. Okay, it'll just be in draft mode. Now the assignment defaults. I don't have anything to click, so I'm assuming that you don't have anything either. Now pay attention to delivery view. This is something we'll come back to, but this will show you what your assignment looks like in Parent Portal. So first things first, add the name, add the abbreviation. I always make sure to add my classes as needed. So if this is a class that I have multiple sections of, I can add or remove those here. So if I add this class, oh, that's the wrong one, I didn't want it, I can just easily click remove. Okay. When you're done, hit OK. This test is going to be assigned on October 1st. It's due on October 1st. And sequencing, I would leave at 1 unless you feel like you want to start moving your grades around in your gradebook. Now, Category. I've already created a unit, or excuse me, a category called assessments. If you need, I can make another video and show you how to make categories. Basically, for what you need right now, if you do not have any existing categories and you try and make an assignment, your screen will pop up I need a category request. And then you just go in, you make it the same kind of way you're doing this. Okay, so for right now, I want to choose whatever standard or grading task I'm choosing. I need for the high school, it's semester 1. For the middle school, it's quarter 1. Give it a certain number of points. So let's do quarter 1, and we're going to leave it so you can see how it changes your grade book. Now, if you want to add a scoring rubric, this is a newer function that they added last year. IC added last year. Go ahead and play with this. This is a good tool. So right here is the minimum requirement according to the principals as I've talked to them this year. But let's go a step further and adjust some things for our students to see. So we are going to insert a template. Now the assignment template should be available for everybody at Fremont 14. For you, I'd like for you to type in a description of what your assignment is, what is the objective, and any references you may or may not have. Okay, so we're going to add a description. This is a test you will be graded on. Objective, assess current understanding. And then references, I don't have any, but you could easily hyperlink in your assignments. So if I wanted to hyperlink something, I need to highlight whatever I'm hyperlinking and go up here and click link. This is where you could hyperlink in any assignments or any sort of resources or anything you need to go along with the description. So anyways, I'll do another video on that at a later date. Google Drive does not work, but quick assessments, student submissions, and discussion, these are newer tools that you can use at your leisure. All right, so now let's get into for teachers. This is where I would put in my answer key. So I would hyperlink in my answer key or write in my answer key if it's a short little assessment. I don't currently have any unit or lesson plans to attach to it, so there shouldn't be anything here. If there is some information there, that means you've already created a prior unit. Insert the grade levels that you're going to be attaching to this because it'll make it searchable later. And the depth of knowledge is very good to keep track of because if my assessment is all recall and reproduction, then I might need to do a secondary assessment to assess skills and concepts or maybe even strategic thinking. Now, if you add tags, this makes your assignment searchable in the library. But for right now, we are just going to put in our depth of knowledge is going to be 1. I'll look back through it. Okay, I like this. I'm going to hit save. So now we're going to close it. And you'll notice that in my semester 1, it didn't show up. But if I click on my quarter 1, my category is assessments and my test is there. So if I think, oh, I messed that up, I click on test. I want it associated with both of my categories. So we are going to add a standard for grading. We're going to say that it's in semester 1 too. And we can give it a different point value. So there it is. We'll hit save. And that is how you create an assignment and set up your gradebook in IC.